Everyone to today's call. Thank you, Christine, for manning the fort. The part of Tony Gallo will be played by yours truly, Michael Fitzpatrick. I'm the Executive Director of the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership. Tony was pulled in multiple directions. He said, "Hey, Fitz," which is my nickname, "can you cover this?" And I said, "You know it, buddy." So here we are. We're going to rock and roll. We're going to move and groove. We've got some cool folks on the call today, and I'm cheating shamelessly and reading notes that today's topic will be the Ohio TechCred funding and tooling use SME manufacturing certification. So I certainly look forward to hearing about that my own self, and I guess a bunch of you do too. But before we pivot to our guest speakers, I did exactly what Tony suggested. I watched previous versions of this to see how we should run it, and he always starts with introductions. So let's start with introductions so that everybody knows everybody. I went first. Chrissy, you go next.
Hi, Chrissy Cooney. I'm at Lorain County Community College in the Office of Workforce.
All right, Brett.
Hi, I'm Brett Novak. I'm from United Initiators here in Elyria, and I am the Employee Development Manager, process guy, all-around guy.
All right, catch-all guy. All right, let's see. Next on my list, Greg Sertman. Greg, I don't know you. Looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm Greg Sertman. I'm a senior workforce education strategist for Tooling USME. Basically a fancy title for my partnership with Lorain County Community College and supporting manufacturers.
Very cool. All right. I know a lot of you know Bernie, but I'm going to ask her, Bernie, to introduce herself. Bernie.
Hey there, Bernie Goski from Lorain County Community College, and I'm happy that you guys are joining us today for this conversation.
Very good. Hannah, don't know you yet, but I'm about to.
Hi there, I'm Hannah DiVincenzo, also with the Business Growth Services team here at Lorain County Community College.
All right, fantastic. Erin, well known to me and many of you, but all the same.
Erin Len, HR Manager at Togus Products in Avon Lake.
All right, and Erin gets the dubious pleasure of being on yet another call with me. All right, Allison Kaminsky, who's on here twice.
Hi, I'm Allison. I'm the HR coordinator at BWXT in Barberton.
I'm sorry, you said that really fast, so I didn't catch it.
I'm Allison. I'm the HR coordinator at BWXT in Barberton.
Oh, okay. Very cool to have you. All right, how about Farah next, if I'm pronouncing that right, and I'm sorry if I didn't.
Oh, that's okay. It's Farah.
Farah.
HR manager with BWX Technologies in Barberton, Ohio.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Eddie, that's his middle name, Hawkins.
It's Eddie Hawkins with the Lorain County Ohioans Job Center. I'm the business services executive. I work with all businesses within Lorain County to assist them with funding and training to help their businesses continue to grow.
All right, groovy, Eddie. Thank you. Tony Schweppe, the man, the myth, the legend, soon to be action figure.
Good afternoon. Tony Schweppe, Manager of Business Engagement with Lorain County Community College Business Growth Services.
All right. Did I miss anyone? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, if I did.
Jen Purdy with BWXT. I'm the other Allison.
Oh, you're the other Allison. Okay. All right. Well, that's why you slipped under my radar.
What was your name?
Jen Purdy with BWXT, and the HR Generalist Employee Relations.
Great.
Good to have you. All right. With that, I'm going to pivot shamelessly to Bernie, who will introduce our guests and take it away. So Bernie.
There. So today we have two topics that we'll be discussing, and the presenters who are joining us a little bit later will be hopping on soon. So, but our first topic is the Ohio TechCred program, and so I have two colleagues from Lorain County Community College with us today, Hannah DiVincenzo and Chrissy Cooney. So take it away, both of you, and we look forward to trying to encourage more employers to utilize this amazing funding source that's available through the state of Ohio.
Awesome. Thank you, Bernie. Let's see here. Thanks, Hannah. So I know a lot of you on this call, which is really great. Greg, I was going to put in the chat. It's good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. We also know that a lot of you on this call have already utilized TechCred. So we know that this is not a new concept for most everyone on this phone call. Most everyone on this phone call has some knowledge of what this is. Our mission today, and the word we're trying to spread, is that there is a new funding session that is open right now. So there's an application session that is just open March 1st. And that we are really trying to take a more active role. We know that the TechCred is left up to businesses to apply for. And one of the things that we are trying to be more strategic about here at the college is really helping our business partners do some of these processes that we know are time consuming and you may not have the HR capacity to do. So for instance, the TechCred application is one of those worker training dollars that are available and are awesome if you take advantage of them, but we do know that it's work on our employers and we're trying to help you navigate that process. So that is my main mission today. Hannah, if you could skip to the next slide for me. So one of the things that we did in this presentation, and we'll send this to Bernie so she can share it all out with you, is we really tried to go in and narrow down for our employers what you have to do to make this happen. We are big checklist people in our team, and we know that this is an overwhelming process. TechCred has made a lot of changes since maybe some of you that may have done it the first round, where you had to have exact employees identified and you had to have social security numbers and birthdays and all those kind of things. There is a lot more flexibility in terms of guessing at credential populations and folks that you might have to at least be able to apply. So we have put together a checklist of everything that the employer is going to need, the credential information, and then the trainee information. And while this does look like a lot of information that you need, it's probably all things that from the businesses you all know you have at your fingertips anyway. So, and we on our end are trying to get ourselves better trained as to what these things are too. So as we're working with you on an application, so if you want us to come help you do the application, we can sit down with you and help you figure out what these things might be for your company. So hopefully this checklist in a more organized fashion will help our business partners keep organized on this. Next slide, please. Also the reimbursement checklist. I know one of the things that we hear a lot from our partners is they're intimidated to take this type of project on because of the red tape of these projects. So the reimbursement checklist, we're also hoping helps you become more organized. Once again, there's only so many things we can do for the company. So we're literally trying to take it to the edge of everything we can do to help you be organized. And we're actually going to do the process ourselves here to learn the application and learn how to apply. And so the credential documentation, there is a window of time that the employee has to earn the credential. There is a window of time that you have to upload the credential to be reimbursed. It's not nearly as scary as it used to be. And as we get more experience in this, we can help our business partners along kind of with this process. There are a couple of things though, and the credential eligibility information that I want to point out. One of the things that you're going to need to be mindful of as employers is this. While this is not an apprenticeship, and that's the space I'm used to speaking in, the idea of this is to upskill an employee. So they do want you to be able to enter the wage prior to the credential and then the wage after the credential is earned. And there is an expectation. We don't care what the wage is, but there is an expectation with this program that there will be a wage increase once an employee earns a credential. Like I said, that is completely between the business and the employee. But it's one of those things that as we were walking through this process, wanted to make sure that we really pointed out is stuff that you're gonna need to keep track of. The rest of the documentation we as a college can help you with. So, your credential, your cost of tuition and all of those kind of things. There are a lot of areas that when I was thinking about doing this presentation, I realized one of the things that I think holds people up is they kind of don't even know what area to ask for, because TechCred has an overwhelming amount of options. So we have this slide to jog inspiration for all of you in terms of letting you know that the topics and the areas of concentrations that you can get TechCred in. With that being said, there are hundreds of TechCred. Anybody that has searched that site knows there are hundreds of TechCred opportunities in each of these buckets. So, you know, once you as a company say, we'd like to look into this a little bit more, then that's where we as a college can kind of help you shift through, okay, what do you have a credential in mind that is important to you? If not, here's what we have, and here's how we can kind of connect the dots for you. Because, you know, I tried every which way to print lists of the credentials offered, or the majors, or the topics, or make a spreadsheet, and it is just an incredible amount of information. So really the easiest way is to show you all the categories, to let you know that it has really expanded in some areas. You know, the healthcare technology has really expanded. The cybersecurity has really expanded. The construction technology has really expanded. And then from there say, we would absolutely entertain these conversations with you, and we can kind of help you navigate the credentials on your own. You know, maybe it does belong in the non-credit space. Maybe, and that's just a lot for a company to take on their own. So that is one of the major functions that our team does, is helping businesses sort through all these. If you have a credential that you know you want to earn, great. That is a fabulous start, and we can run with it. We're finding a lot of companies don't, which is why they're not taking advantage of this, because they just don't even know what's available to them. So these are the major categories, and we can help you from there.
Hey, Chrissy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to also point out that if you are looking through the credentials that are already on the approved list for TechCred, and you don't see a credential that you'd like to pursue, there is an opportunity to add more credentials to that list. So I see Aaron on here. Let's just say that injection molding, you know, if you didn't see a credential aligned to that, and you wanted to add that to the list, that's a possibility too, as part of this application process. And then the state will review it and let you know if it's approved.
Yeah, the list is growing by leaps and bounds. And that's the other thing, it's not a stagnant list. So I can capture it today, and tomorrow it might be different. So that's the other challenge of coming up with what is actually the credential list, because it is constantly evolving, which is great. It just is hard to kind of give you definite answers on any given day. It's definitely a snapshot. Okay, so there are things, like Bernie said, either the credentials that are on the list, or if you want to add a credential to the list, this is what they're going to be looking for. So it does have to be short term, right? It's got to be less than 30 credit hours or 900 clock hours. We say 900 clock hours because different industries talk in different languages. I know I have a program through the JVS through cosmetology, that's clock hours. Hannah works with a program through the paramedics, that's clock hours. So we can help you figure out the math behind those and figure out if it qualifies, but it does have to be short term. Industry recognized. This has become one of kind of the craziest words and phrases in my mind, because industry recognized really has a pretty broad bandwidth at the state level. So it's got to be a credential, obviously recognized outside of your specific business. However, at the college level, with either the platforms we're working with, or the fact that it's a college course, almost all of those that you would be working through at LCCC qualify as that. And then it has to be technology focused. This was a little stricter when TechCred initially rolled out. This is another area that they've loosened the reins a little bit. If it's not on the list, and you can build a case for it. You know, there still are some areas where they're not, you know, it's not a free for all. Like Tony and I were joking earlier, like, do you use a computer? Cool, it's technology, right? But they can, you can, if you build your case, I'm seeing a lot added to the credential list. And Fitz, I know you asked that question. So clock hours and credit hours are just different mathematical ways we come up with how long related technical instruction should last in a classroom. I know with my apprentices, they call them related technical instruction hours. And so in tool and die, for instance, it has to be 576 or something like that, contact hours. So that is completely an educational term. And that's a bucket of work that we will help you figure out if it qualifies or not. That it's not an industry, it has nothing to do with industry recognized. It's not a badge, it's not an award. You don't put it on your resume. That's specifically education math. So these are the three, like I said, buckets that your credential has to fall in if you don't see it on TechCred. If you see it on TechCred, great, it's already met these three functions. So employer eligibility. So the reimbursements are $2,000 a credential, but companies, and we've seen this on our list of people who have taken advantage of this, employers are eligible to receive up to $30,000 per funding round. So there is flexibility with how many people you put in or the credential. Most of our credentials, because of the cost of a community college, there's absolutely no issue with this price point. So we will help you work all that out. And this is kind of just a caveat. In addition to these are layers of funding sources, but I would never want anybody to do or not do a program or express interest because they're worried about that dollar amount. Because I will tell you right now is a prime time, as everybody knows on this call, because we've been on a bunch of calls together, this is a great time to layer these funding sources and take care of this expense. So this is just one bucket of this money, but if your credential would exceed this or you would need other funding sources, rest assured, between Bernie and her team and the workforce team, there is funding that I'm sure we can find to help package and make this something you can do. So please, it's like education is kind of like a sticker price on a car. Please do not let that hold you up. We are in a great spot right now to be able to help, all of our businesses find funding. There are some things on the individual and the employer eligibility. This is all pretty straightforward. And like I said, we'll share this PowerPoint with you all because we try to take everything from the state website and kind of boil it down into something that helped you guys break it into buckets. But we will send this out so you can say, what did they need to do again? And double check this. So, and then I think, so this is just a reminder to everybody on the call that there are a lot of ways that this division that is also handling the TechCred can help support your businesses. I feel like it should go without saying because I know so many of you on this call, but just as a reminder, there are a lot of areas of workforce that we talk about. So, apprenticeships, there's money to help with apprenticeships right now, the non-credit, the continuing ed, our leadership, you name it. So these are all things that fall within the divisions of the teams that we work with. So this was just my cheap play at trying to give everybody a reminder what the division does. And then I think we're good. I think we're open for questions. Yeah, those are just all things that our team does. And like you said, you'll see it in the PowerPoint. I don't need to take up your time talking about other things that our division does, but this is our team. We're here to help you. We want more companies to engage with this. We want to take the lift off of you all. And as much of this as we can do for you, we will. We know there's a lot of different funding sources going on right now. And for companies, it's kind of complicated to keep track of things. So whatever we can do to help support you all, that's what our team is here to do. So I don't know if there's any questions.
So Chrissy, I know that the TechCred application period just opened again yesterday. And what's the deadline for applying?
The 31st, right? I think I'm pretty sure it closes on the 31st. It's month to month. And then, although we did hear from Columbus and they did the most they've ever done in this last press release about saying it's like every other month. They've been doing every other month, but they haven't really said every other month. And this latest press release, I felt like was the first time they've kind of admitted that this is every other month. So it'll be March, April, and then May again.
March, May.
March, it'll be closed April, May. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Yeah, July.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
yep.
Missy,
Yeah.
are you able to see the chat at all or no?
I saw a message from Fitz, but that was it. So if there was not another one, let me.
Okay. Just want to make sure you're seeing the chat because there was a question in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's the clock hours one. And yes, no, that is educational math, and we will help you with that. That's not really anything that I would have you all be bothered with.
Yeah, I appreciate you answering that, Chris, because I'm something like, is that different from normal, my normal human hours?
Yeah.
So I appreciate
Just the way
you.
we count seat hours, contact hours. There's just a bunch of different ways to say it in education land.
All right, very good. Any other questions? We don't want anybody to walk away from here more confused than they got here.
Can I just have one more little conversation about TechCred? Companies who are interested in using this funding, we would love to talk to those folks and figure out a way to embed an on-the-job training plan to pair with this training. The training would be funded by the state of Ohio. However, we do have, the college is also working on a national project from the United States Department of Labor to encourage a little more, just building a little more structure around training programs so that once your employees would obtain that certification or concurrent with the time that they're trying to achieve that milestone, they could have a little defined on-the-job training plan so that once, if this funding ends and things go away, you're establishing a sustainable model for your company, a talent planning model for your company that can outrun any of these funding options that are currently available. So we really encourage that. And if you are interested in that, please get in touch with Chrissy or anybody on our team. And we'd love to follow up on that because we also have additional funding that could help you with that on-the-job training. So, so thanks for that. Okay, any other questions about this topic? Okay, so let's switch gears. So we have with us Greg Sertman from Tooling U and Allison Church and Janice Lupina from Lorain County Community College. And they're going to talk to us about a short-term training program that we're really excited about. And it's we feel like it's a really great solution for manufacturers, especially at a time when you are drawing in talent that has no manufacturing experience. You may be pulling talent from retail, from hospitality, from lots of other industries that were kind of got the squeeze during the pandemic. It's a great opportunity to rechannel some careers for these folks and get them excited about the careers in manufacturing and the tremendous opportunities that are available with full benefits, amazing wages, job security, and a great work-life balance. So I'd like to turn the meeting over to our colleagues and so that they can tell you about something that is kind of percolating at the college in partnership with Tooling U. Janice?
Yep. Thank you so much, Bernie. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us today. I'm going to go ahead and start and then Greg will go ahead and take over, but wanted to just share a little bit about how we work with Tooling U, and then Greg will talk about the specific program itself. So we, Allison and myself, work very closely with Greg and his team at Tooling U to help provide this training to our manufacturers. And the nice thing is we work in conjunction with the manufacturer and have created a really nice collaborative relationship model to where even as the employees are going through the training, if they need anything, Allison and myself act as the liaison between, we're the touch point. And so I know Greg's going to talk a little bit more about that, but I just wanted to let you know kind of how that works. And so it's still all Lorain County Community College, but we're utilizing Tooling U's material. And And then we work very closely with the manufacturer, and I know there's training dollars to help with that as well. So Greg, I know you had a couple slides, so I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and let you talk about the program.
Yeah, thanks. I want to thank the team from LCCC for having me on the call today. Chrissy, by the way, that's probably the best TechCred presentation I've witnessed in the last 2 years. So I may ask you to hijack a few of those slides.
Oh, thanks. That's a big compliment from you.
Yeah. So that was great. First, I want to say I work with about 18 states across the United States, and we live in a state that happens to be very proactive about having funds and different grants to develop the incumbent workforce. I would say we're top 3 in the country because I have a colleague who works with all the other states, and to have a 100% reimbursement program out there like the TechCred is one of the best in the country. The only other state that has a program this good is probably Pennsylvania. Many other states have a 50% reimbursement type of model, and unfortunately, there are some states that I did want to point that out. In addition to TechCred, there's another program out there. And Bernie, I know you know more about the Scaling Apprenticeship grant program, but we can leverage different funding sources to support what I'm about to talk about here. One is TechCred, another one is Scaling Apprenticeship. And this program is really designed for folks that you've just hired. So think about the folks that you've hired in areas like assembly, production, warehousing, that have minimal to no experience in manufacturing, but you hired them because they had a good interview, they could pass a drug test, they seem to be fairly motivated, and you think they're going to show up for 90 days in a row. And by the way, those are all great reasons to hire someone, but there could be some challenges perhaps onboarding that new employee. That's what this program is for. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Someone give me some acknowledgement that they're seeing.
Yes, we can see it, Greg.
Awesome. So Tooling U is a division of the Society of Manufacturing Engineers, SME for short. We are one of those credentialing bodies that Chrissy mentioned. We do have a handful of different industry credentials that are out there. This one in particular is called the Certified Manufacturing Associate, and is really the ground floor credential that I don't want to say it's easy to achieve, but it's one of the easier ones to achieve when you consider all the other industry credentials that are out there. There's no reason why someone couldn't finish this in a few months, especially or even if they are working 40 hours a week. So this particular program is 25 courses. Each one of these titles that you're looking at here is about a 1-hour learning experience. That starts with a pre-assessment and ends in a post-assessment or a final exam. What's great about that is you're capturing their performance on the front end and on the back end to see kind of how we're moving the needle on that knowledge transfer. These are all these 25 courses are delivered on an asynchronous environment. So it's 100% online. They're on their own. They can take them at 2 in the morning or sitting on their couch on Sunday afternoon. So when they complete these courses and they feel comfortable and ready to sit for the certification exam, when I say comfortable, I mean passing your final exam for each of the 25 at around 75% or higher. Once you achieve that, you can feel pretty confident that you're going to be able to sit for this credentialing exam and be successful. And once you earn that credential, that sticks with that individual for the rest of their life. There's no recertification. They'll get a certificate or certification from SME as a certified manufacturing associate. That's portable. The exam itself, or the credentialing exam, it takes about an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes to take. It's 75 questions. What they're doing is they're pulling 3 questions from each of these 25 topics. And from a comprehensive perspective, you have to pass at 70% or above to earn the certification. So that's how that works. Here's the great thing about the program. When you sign up for the program, what you're actually getting is a 1-year all access subscription to everything, all the courses that Tooling has. You're only looking at 25 classes right here. We have 562 classes as of a couple of days ago. And what some manufacturers are doing is after they've had their newer employee go through this program, which shouldn't take you more than about 10 to 12 weeks. This is really only committing about 2 hours a week. After they're done with that, and say it takes them 3 months to complete, you have 9 months left for that employee to take anything else they want. So what employers are doing is they're really customizing different programs, a combination of different online programs to match their business needs. For example, if you need more maintenance technicians or welders or machinists or robotics technicians, you have the ability to really analyze our content and put together custom programs. So, hey, if once they're in the business of developing themselves and they're successful, why stop at 25 courses? Let's continue on whatever's next for that employee, and you can design the program so it meets the needs of your business. So that's, in summary, I wanted to show you what that looked like. I wanted to point out a couple of these other industry credentials that are out there. The Certified Manufacturing Associate is one that we feel sits right there in the middle at an entry level. And from there, because sometimes new employees, they don't know what they don't know yet. Let's get them in there as an assembler, warehouse worker, and have them, show up for work 90 days in a row and think about what type of interest they have and how that matches up with the needs of your organization. And then they can make some more educated decisions on, hey, do I want to go down the welding path, machining path, maintenance path, smart manufacturing path? There's all sorts of different paths to go down, and there's credentials to support each of those. But the Certified Manufacturing Associate is, in my opinion, a great start. And with the scaling apprenticeship grant, it has a potential to be 100% funded from a reimbursement perspective. I'm going to stop talking now to see if you have any questions, either from a programmatic standpoint or a funding perspective.
So I have a question for Janice and Allison and Greg. This was recently rolled out with a local company. And the impression I got from conversations we've had was that they actually were going to allow their trainees to do some of this training on site. Is that right?
Yes.
They set up like a little computer lab within their facility?
Yeah.
And each individual employee actually worked with their direct supervisor to coordinate and schedule those 2 hours that they're allotted each week to actually sit in the computer lab and work on these classes as well.
And the other thing too, to add to that is we work directly with one of the supervisors there, and the supervisor has been really very engaged in helping. And we are finding this is a very successful model that we want to take to other manufacturers, because some people have already completed the training way before we expected them to. And it's because of all of us working together and having that point person at the manufacturer that I think that's why it's working so well.
That's great. The other thing that's really great about Tooling U and the product that they've developed here is that it has an on-the-job training plan associated with this related technical instruction, if you will. And it's my understanding that that's also available in an online format where their mentors can go in and just kind of check off that they have achieved those milestones as they continue along through the training. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, Bernie. That training supervisor that Janice had mentioned is utilizing those on the job, right? Making sure they know though they can complete those tasks and do that hands-on piece. So it's kind of coupling that online curriculum with that hands-on training as well.
I noticed there are a few folks from in the HR role here, and I want you all to know that if you're going to have employees using the system, you're going to have all the controls that you need on the back end to monitor their progress. How are they scoring on the pre and the post exams? How are they? How much time are they spending in the class? How are they progressing towards a specific goal? You're going to see all that. You can print all kinds of different reports, from individual reports to group reports to comprehensive reports, and then have access to certificates of completion when they pass the final exam of each of those courses at an acceptable percentage, which, by the way, you determine. Industry average is typically somewhere between 70 and 80% passing the final exams, but that's up to you.
So at this time, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but some of our employer partners that are on the, some of the manufacturers who are with us today, any reaction to this, or, do you think that this would be something that might fit with your current talent planning strategies, or is it too low level? You're looking for something a little higher, a little further along. Any comments from our manufacturers?
I guess I would have to see the content myself. We already do. We're in the chemical industry, and we do reactive chemistry here. So a lot of the stuff we already have our own custom stuff for, like we have our own lockout tagout program. Of course, HAZCOM is mandatory when you're working with highly hazardous chemicals. We have to train on that right away. So most of our stuff, when it comes to this, is pretty much custom that we already have. That doesn't mean it might not be useful to us, though.
One of the things that we're able to do with working with Tooling U, and when we've had these conversations with companies, is that they've actually gotten that trial access so that you can actually physically go into that class, see how interactive it is, and see if it would be a good fit. I think, Greg, you're going to say something.
Yeah, we're happy. I'm happy to open up a free trial account for you, Brett, and for anyone else on the call. All I really need to know is your contact info and what functional areas you're interested in. What I'll do is I'll create an account. I'll throw 20, 30 courses in there, and this will give you an opportunity to see how it all works. We're kind of a try before you buy type of sale. If your organization hasn't had online learning initiatives in the past, I suspect you're going to want to try it out to see if it's effective first, and we want to be able to provide you with that access.
Yeah, I think we already have our own online learning. We have our own custom online learning platform that we already use.
Okay, great. So it's just a matter of evaluating the content.
Yeah.
Appropriate.
Anyone else? As you're going around and recruiting people, again, who may not have any exposure to manufacturing, I really think that this would be of value, and that really the on-the-job training is kind of what customizes it for companies, because then they're learning on your own machines and your own, it's much more than just an online learning platform from that perspective. So
I recognize that most folks on this call are on it to learn about this, but just out of curiosity, do we have anybody on here who's already been through this or a variation on this and has some experience with it, some success with it? I'd love to know. Obviously, I can't ask Greg if he's, Greg's going to be like, yes, it's totally successful, but I'm certain there are folks out there who've been through this once or twice. Okay, maybe not.
I was just going to add too a lot, just to maybe help with the manufacturers that are on the call. Something else that this helps with is bandwidth, because so many people are kind of tapped already, and some are even running short staffed, that this type of program really helps with that bandwidth and getting folks trained quicker than they would of having somebody that's, with them for their whole entire shift. So just kind of think of it that way.
And I think to kind of address the question that Michael asked was that, there isn't anybody right now that we've worked with on this call. However, that has kind of been that conversation lately between Bernie and Greg and ourselves, was we would love to, come back and bring those that we're working with to be able to share that, first person experience, and then also from that trainer experience to that supervisor level.
This is a fairly new credential. It launched in January of 2021. We do have right around 250, 300 people nationally who have achieved it so far. Pass rate is right around like 75%. You don't have to take the courses to sit for the exam. So we do have a number of people that just kind of roll in and say, hey, let me just take the exam without taking any classes. And we're not going to stop you from doing it. But it's been more of those folks who are not successful the first time around. The folks who are taking the courses are extremely successful at taking the credential exam. We do have one employer here in Lorain County that started with a group of 31 people, and they're about 7 weeks into it, and they're making some pretty good progress. I'll tell you that. A lot better than the average group.
Right. We have a quiet group today.
Yeah. I encourage you all to, if you're just kind of on the fence considering it, just put a good way to put your toe in the water is just get set up with the trial count and see how it works.
All right. Well, that's it for our conversation for today. We really appreciate you spending the time with us, and we thank you to Chrissy and Hannah for that great explanation on TechCred, and to Janice and Allison and Greg for just sharing that Tooling U model. And just feel free to reach out if any of this is of interest to you. Tony Gallo from Lorain County Chamber will be following up with all of you and sharing the meeting recording and also sharing the PowerPoints from today. And actually, I'm going to request that everybody send me your PowerPoints so that we can close the loop on that. And we look forward to future conversations with all of you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you mentioning that there, Bernie, because you beat me to the punch. I was gonna ask Chrissy for that PowerPoint, for example, so that could go up on our webpage. And for those who this is their first call, not only do we send it out, but it will be hosted. So what I mean by that is this recording of this will show up on LCMSP's YouTube channel. So there it will live in perpetuity. So if you find yourself saying, what was it that Chrissy said? What was it that Bernie said, et cetera, it lives there and you can watch it at your leisure.
Thanks. And I just have one quick question before we leave for our colleagues from Barberton who are with us. Thanks for joining us. And, while we have a regional approach here, we're open, we don't have strict boundaries on any of these programs. So I don't know if any of you want to unmute and just let us know, like, how did you hear of this? And would you be interested in staying in contact for future events?
So we actually do TechCred already, which is what made us interested in joining today, just see if there was more, because I just came on as full-time. So it's kind of a learning experience to make sure that I know everything about TechCred before I kind of jump into it and start taking it over.
That's great. Well, the door is open. We're happy to help.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't already say so, special thanks to our speakers today. Thank you for being so knowledgeable and so prepared and helping disseminate this information. It's a lot to get your head around, and I speak as somebody who's new to this world, so I appreciate it for everybody else if nobody else does. Anything else, Bernie?
No, that's it. I think that our next topic, based on the conversation we just had this morning with the Lorain County Manufacturing Sector Partnership, there is an interest in hosting an event where employers can learn more about industry recognized credentials. Because while a lot of people say we don't need them, we're not interested in that, but what we need is people who have a degree in engineering and 3 to 5 years of experience. Like, good luck trying to find that snowflake. So but we'll have a little bit of a teaching moment on what do these industry recognized credentials really mean, and what are those competencies that somebody with these credentials can bring to your company, and how can that set them off on a pathway to a progression with your company. So that'll be our next topic.
Great.
Yep. So,
all right, everyone. Well, thanks for spending your lunch with us. Go forth and conquer, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.